Hi everybody, and welcome back to D.I.DinRawLife, or soon to be family of 23. It's Cassie here. I first of all want to apologize for the weird video quality. I haven't quite figured out how to do videos on our Kindle Fire yet, so I'm doing it on our computer, which is like the old-fashioned way of doing it. Actually, the bad video quality is kind of working in my favor right now because I'm not as presentable as I would usually care to be. I usually am much more presentable than I am now, and the video quality is kind of distorting how not great we look. I did get my hair up, and I did get some cover up because we have a lot of acne right now, as you can probably see right there. Like, oh my gosh. Anyways, but our face was actually really red, so I did put a bit of like powder foundation on just to kind of cover the red spots. And she's in a t-shirt, which I kind of abhor, but whatever. So I threw on the first cardigan I could find, make it look a little more functional. Anyways, so. And I think that ties into this. That's a really good segue for this video. I'm really excited to be able to make it. I don't get to do videos very often. It's usually Laura. But today I wanted to make a video about co-hosting from an alter's, aka my perspective. And this, I understand that every alter is gonna have like a different perspective on it, like someone from acrylic and aether system is going to probably see it differently than I do, so don't take this as a across-the-board thing. It's just from our perspective personally. And I don't know, I guess I could sit here and do some research on a, like, proper technical way of explaining co-hosting, but I really didn't want to take the time to do that. Laura's definitely the one that takes more of the time to do her research and make sure she's using terminology correctly and whatnot. I don't. Co-hosting for us is basically, we have the host, which is the personality or alter that is fronting or being out the most, but a lot of the times that doesn't work, so we have what we call a co-host, so basically second in line. So we have the person who's out the absolute most, and then you have the person who's out second most, basically, and that is our co-host. And for a while, Laura, we didn't have a co-host. It was just kind of Laura, and then everybody else shuffled through at various intervals, which made things super chaotic. And we've gone through different phases in our life where we go from having just the host, typically Laura. I don't think we've had a new host other than Laura for quite some time. Since the body was about 10 or 11, I would say, was the last time we had someone other than Laura be the host for any given length of time. And we've had times where it was just Laura being the host and we didn't have a co-host. It was just everybody cycling through at their own intervals. And we've had periods where we had a co-host and it was kind of split half and half. We just kind of finished one of those cycles of Laura being the main host and it mainly being her. Yeah. And now we've definitely moved into a co-hosting cycle where it's Laura's the main host, but there's a co-host, which I would be what we'd consider the co-host. It's not the first time it's happened. It's probably not the last. It's happened several times in the past. Actually, majority of the time, I am the one that fills in the place of the co-host. And so basically, that means that Laura and I share the host position, I guess. If you think about it like driving in a car, it'd be like Laura drives for a day or two and then gets tired, so I drive for a day or two, in a way. Like, it's just swapping out who's driving the car, I guess, is a good way to put it. And there's all sorts of benefits to this. There's things that I truly love about being the co-host, and there's some things that are kind of not so great, so I kind of wanted to put it as my perspective, and I might throw some of my guess at Laura's perspective in there, I don't know. But one thing I like about being co-host rather than host, I guess, is I have knowledge that our host or Laura doesn't. Like, when Laura is not hosting, when someone else is fronting, she has no information. Like, she's not aware of anything that's gone on while she's been gone. So she kind of comes out and like an hour or two's gone by and she's clueless unless someone else tells her or we leave her a note. And when I come forward and I host or I front for a while, thankfully I do not have the amnesia effect. So Laura can be out and fronting for a day and I am aware of everything that's gone on for the last 24 hours. So I'm not coming into a blank slate. I know exactly what's going on. I'm oriented to time and place. So that's one nice thing that I think being co-host is a benefit rather than being host, is sometimes you have that amnesia effect, which I don't. So that's always nice. Just being able to have that background info that Laura unfortunately just doesn't get most of the time. Another thing I really like about co-hosting is all the interaction. And I like how discreet it can be. A lot of times I am fronting and people do not know it. And this is really common in D.I.D. It's not like an alter pops out and we're like, hey, I'm not so-and-so anymore. Very rarely is that how it is, unless it's a special relationship or something. Or if the person knows us really well and has identified the subtle changes. You know, like when we go to therapy, if our therapist Jenna doesn't automatically pick up that we're not Laura, she or Laura's doctor office, we don't have that kind of relationship with her doctor, so there's been times I've gone to a doctor appointment for Laura and her doctor has no clue that I'm me. She just assumes I'm Laura because A, she doesn't see us as often, and B, no one really likes her, so we're not going to be upfront about it. And usually it has no effect on anything having to do with the appointment. Our hubby, or Laura's hubby, I'm not married to Tim, by the way. I never will be. We'll never have that relationship. We have somebody else for that. But he will usually notice when someone else is not Laura, or when someone's here. He's gotten pretty good at it. Although we can be pretty sneaky sometimes. There are several occasions when we're out and he's not aware of it. It just depends on the circumstance and what's needed and necessary at that point in time and whether we feel like announcing ourselves. But I get to talk to a lot of people without necessarily having to be like, hey, I'm not Laura, or even explain any of that. They just assume that I am. So I do a lot of talking to Tim without him realizing I'm not her. I get to speak to our therapist and our dentist and all sorts of things, and I get to interact with the world a lot without it necessarily being a big, oh, you're not the host thing, because I'm a co-host. So even people who know us fairly well, like Jenna knows Laura and the whole system fairly well, and yet because she knows us so well, and because I'm co-host, it's not completely unusual for me to be there. Like, it's pretty normal for Laura to show up to an appointment. Pretty dang normal for me to show up to therapy. Really weird if Joan shows up. Really weird if Lucas shows up to that appointment. And then it's obviously a kind of, like, an alarm bell goes off, like, hey, you're not Laura, and this is weird. But because I'm at therapy so often, it doesn't stand out as much, so people don't always pick up on it. And whatnot, because I go and see Jenna quite often, and because it's such a normality for her, she doesn't always pick up on it. She usually does, but she can't always tell, especially if we switch halfway through. So I think that's one added benefit of being a co-host, is you're out more frequently, so when you are out, it's not as big of a surprise. It doesn't stand out as much. It's pretty covert. Like, people don't tend to go, oh, wait, you know. I'm kind of bouncing around here in this video. I guess it's kind of long. I don't know how long her videos usually are, but I think one thing that's hard about being the co-host is sometimes you come out in a situation you're less than thrilled about. Like, tonight I came out and actually had some time to get some stuff done, and I wanted to make this video, and Laura hasn't showered in 2 days. Like, and I get that, she's got a broken back, so getting into the shower and stuff has not been an easy task. It's actually been pretty hard to get in and out of the shower on our own, so it's not just for laziness, it's actually just really hard for her to safely get in and out of the shower. But that meant, like, I haven't showered in 2 days, and I'm a very clean person. I like to have my shower every single day, and I don't know the last time when she washed her hair. I think it was like a week ago. That's kind of gross admitting that. But, like, so I came out and our hair was super greasy and disgusting. And I hadn't showered in 2 days. So, like, and our face was all red and blotchy. And, like, we were still in our jammies. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to make this video because I look like crap. Only it's like, I don't even know what time it is. What time is it? It's like 8:30 at night, so I really didn't see any benefit to showering and getting dressed and presentable, just to shower and get undressed in our jammies and stuff. Please forgive the way I'm holding my mouth. We had a root canal on Tuesday, and our teeth are still really sore, so a lot of it is just our teeth hurting. So I tend to pull my lips back for some reason. I don't know. Laura doesn't do that. Laura doesn't pull her lips back like that, but I have been. I don't know why. Anyways, and that's another fun thing, is sometimes you come out and you have to deal with tooth pain that I don't deal with when I'm not hosting. So that can be kind of frustrating, or coming out and having to adjust to a whole new thing because your host decided to, you know, make a big change and get on this whole new routine without asking anybody's opinion about it or letting anyone know. Like, Laura's just decided to get a whole new daily routine going where she's in bed at the same time, she takes her meds at the same time, she showers and brushes her teeth at the same time. So having to readjust to that is really difficult. So I think that can be hard. One other hard thing is, like, when I'm co-hosting, I'm out and I'm hosting for a reason. I mean, sometimes it's a dumb reason, like I just want to be out and there's a project I want to work on or something, or an article I want to write or whatever, but sometimes it's a situation where Laura can't cope at the moment and I need to be forward and fronting and hosting, or whatever you want to call it. I need to be the one present. So there's usually a reason for it when I'm hosting. And it gets really challenging sometimes because I'm also one of the managers in my system. And I don't know if people are familiar with that, but a manager is basically someone who helps things run smoothly and takes care of things and keeps things organized and working well, and handles various crises that arise. And we have basically 3, potentially 4 managers in the system. Myself, Miranda, who does not come out, she's our system lead, you know, so she's our system mom, she's our system lead, and is the primary head manager, so she kind of runs everything primarily. And then there's, yeah, so myself, Miranda, and Holly are the primary manager, and then Malira sometimes fills in as a manager as well. She's just not quite as good of it, partially because she has selective mutism, so she can't always speak, which is not great when you're a manager. But so basically, if there's a crisis, I'm one of the few people, I'm probably second in command, I would say, to Miranda. So when Miranda's not able to handle something either at that particular time or completely by herself, I'm usually the one that steps in to help manage it. And if I'm hosting, it's really hard because I have to choose between worlds, essentially. I have to choose whether I stay hosting, which is usually necessary, or whether I choose to have someone else host or front for a little bit who may not be as great for that particular situation, so I can go deal with whatever's going on in their own world. And that can get really tricky sometimes, and I don't always make the best choice. I mean, I would say 90% of the time I make the right judgment call on that. But I mean, there's times when I've chosen to stay in said situation when, say, I don't know, Ty would have been able to handle it just fine, and I was really needed in our own world. So that can get really difficult because I'm a manager, and unfortunately I fall into a position of managers for both worlds. Like, Miranda is a manager in our world, but she's not in, like, in our inner world, Miranda is our manager, but when she's fronting and she's in, you know, Laura and Tim's world, she's not the manager. She's more of a messenger. Which is why you don't see her very often, is because she's head manager in our world, so she's almost always too busy to even come out. And when she does, it's for a very specific reason. Like, she's not here to spend quality time with anybody. She's here to get a specific point across or a specific task done that can't really be done as well by anybody else. So when Miranda comes out, people tend to be like, oh shit, this is serious. I know, like, one time Miranda came out while we were in therapy, which blew Jenna's mind. Like, A, because Miranda is really, really proper, and B, she tends to have a British accent, or a British type accent. It's a little bit of an odd accent. So it completely blew Jenna's mind, because most of us don't have an accent at all. We do have different speech patterns and different dialect patterns, but we don't have a full-blown accent, and very few of us are that proper. So here was this very proper, very serious, very professional lady speaking in a British accent and very straight to the point. And not all of us are straight to the point. Like, this video is already 18 minutes and I kind of got sidetracked. But, like, Miranda was, like, on the ball, like, it was kind of funny. But, you know, and Jenna was like, you're definitely not Laura, and you're definitely not Cassie. I don't know who the hell you are, but you're not either one of them. And Miranda was like, I'm Miranda, or I can't even do her accent, but, like, you know, and she's like, and we need to discuss this, this, and this. And Jenna was like, okay, I guess that's what, you know, it definitely got her attention immediately. Like, it really set her immediately in that mindset of, okay, we need to pay attention, I need to be listening, and making sure I'm getting all the information and facts straight, because A, Miranda is out, and Miranda never comes out, and B, Miranda has that kind of effect on people because they know she's a messenger, so she's just there to get a point across, and as soon as that point's been made, she's gonna be gone. I, however, am not a messenger in Laura's world. I'm also a manager in this world. So I have the same role in both worlds, which gives me the same responsibilities in two worlds. So I'm basically doing everything twice. So I make all the appointments and stuff, and everything happen in our inner headspace, and I make all the appointments and things happen in Laura's world. So juggling all of that can be exhausting. It really can. Like, I get so tired sometimes, but I love it. And yeah, so that's just, I guess, a little bit of how I see it, and I'm sorry that this video got so rambly and long, but hopefully this was somewhat enlightening to you guys, and maybe you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, I love to hear from you guys. I do. It makes my day. Like, I seriously love it. And definitely leave your questions or just comments in the comment section below, and I hope to see you guys soon.